Tamar Braxton has finally said what fans have whispered for years, and what she revealed left the entire Braxton family stunned and scrambling. In a jaw-dropping livestream that fans are now calling the Braxton bombshell, Tamar exposed the deepest, dirtiest secret the family ever tried to bury, that Towanda Braxton is actually the biological mother of Ashlee, and the man connected to it all? None other than their own father, Michael Braxton Sr. What started as a cryptic emotional rant quickly turned into a full-blown scandal, as Tamar named names, timelines, and motives, alleging that Towanda was a teen when it happened, and the family conspired for decades to protect her image by pretending Evelyn raised Ashlee as her own. Tamar, shaking with rage and pain, claimed she had kept quiet for too long and was done being part of a toxic legacy of lies. Evelyn has gone radio silent. Towanda? Allegedly in hiding. And Michael Braxton? Sources say he's lawyering up fast. The internet is losing its mind, and the truth Tamar just dropped may be the final nail in the coffin of the Braxton family's picture-perfect facade. You won't believe what she said next. It started with a single sentence that sent the entire internet into meltdown. Y'all want the truth? Fine. Towanda is Ashlee's real mother. When Tamar Braxton dropped that line on Instagram Live, viewers thought it was a joke at first. A drag. A moment of dramatic shade between sisters. But within seconds, Tamar's expression changed. Her voice cracked, and the air shifted. This wasn't a gimmick. This was a confession. And once the floodgates opened, Tamar let the truth pour out like lava, destroying everything in its path. She didn't just expose Towanda. She exposed the entire foundation of the Braxton family, calling out Evelyn and Michael Braxton Sr. for masterminding the cover-up. According to Tamar, Ashlee was born when Towanda was just a teenager, the result of a disturbing, inappropriate relationship with Michael Sr., their own father. Tamar claimed Evelyn was so desperate to save the family's reputation and her own pride that she raised Ashlee as her own daughter, forging a lie that would define generations. That little girl grew up thinking her mama was her sister, Tamar said, her eyes welling up. And we were all told to keep our mouths shut, and I'm done. The internet exploded. Within minutes, number Towanda Braxton and number Ashlee Braxton were trending across social media platforms. Fans, longtime viewers of Braxton family values, began revisiting old episodes with fresh eyes. Suddenly, that tension between Evelyn and Ashlee wasn't just generational. That strange distance between Towanda and Ashlee, it was starting to look like guilt. Tamar's story was unraveling the Braxtons' perfectly crafted image of unity, faith, and old-school values, and revealing a web of silence, shame, and deep-rooted dysfunction. But the most chilling part? Tamar had receipts. In her live stream, she held up what she claimed was a DNA test, secretly conducted years ago, when Ashlee first began questioning her origins. According to Tamar, the results proved Michael Braxton Sr. was Ashlee's biological father, not Evelyn's husband at the time, not a family friend. Tamar said the test had been sealed away, hidden by Evelyn, who threatened anyone who brought it up with being cut off from the family. Tamar continued, her voice trembling with fury. Ashlee used to come to me crying, asking why she didn't feel like one of us, why she always felt out of place. And I wanted to tell her so bad, but Mama said we would lose everything, that nobody would understand, that the devil was trying to divide the family. She paused, wiped her tears, and said the line that would haunt Evelyn forever. You weren't protecting Ashlee, you were protecting him. Tamar alleged that Michael Sr. was never held accountable for what happened with Towanda, that the family swept it under the rug, blamed it on young love, and forced Towanda into lifelong silence to preserve the Braxton image. According to Tamar, Towanda was emotionally broken from the experience, forced to live a lie, and raise Ashlee from a distance while watching Evelyn take on the motherly role. The guilt ruined Towanda, Tamar claimed. She's cold because she was forced to become numb. You don't understand what it does to a woman to give birth and be told, you don't get to be a mom. At this point, thousands were watching live. Ashlee hadn't said a word publicly, but Tamar revealed she had her blessing to speak. "She asked me to tell it," Tamar whispered. She said if she didn't make it out of this family with her truth, she'd never heal. The silence from the rest of the Braxtons was deafening. Evelyn? No statement. Towanda? Deactivated her Instagram. Michael Braxton Sr. completely vanished. But the fans weren't waiting for confirmations. They were digging, reposting old footage, piecing together emotional moments, and calling for full accountability. Tamar's truth had hit like a grenade, and the fallout was just beginning. While the world reeled from Tamar's shocking live, the Braxton family's silence only fueled the fire. No denials. No apologies, just a heavy, almost guilty void. It was clear this wasn't just a sister lashing out in rage. This was a whistleblower tearing open a generational wound. And fans who had watched the Braxtons for years began turning their nostalgia into outrage. What once looked like awkward family dynamics now screamed buried trauma. And Tamar wasn't done talking. The next day, Tamar released a second video, calmer, but more gut-wrenching. She shared old emails and texts between herself and Towanda, including one chilling message from Towanda sent 5 years ago. "Sometimes I feel like she looks at me and knows, like some part of her sees through it." Tamar's voice cracked as she read it. She was talking about Ashlee, she said. Towanda spent years hiding a truth that was breaking her from the inside out, and none of us helped her. We just watched. She went on to explain how Ashlee, now a grown woman, had struggled deeply with her identity, even as the cameras rolled. "You think reality TV shows you everything?" Tamar said, eyes locked with the camera. "Half of what we film never makes it to air." The crying, the arguments, the therapy sessions where Ashlee asked Evelyn, point blank, "Why do I feel like my mom doesn't love me?" And Evelyn just said, "You're being ungrateful." Fans began demanding answers. The quiet treatment from the Braxtons wasn't being interpreted as class, it was being seen as guilt. And the silence only grew louder when an anonymous crew member from Braxton Family Values came forward, alleging that there were episodes intentionally edited to remove sensitive family content about Ashlee's parentage. According to the source, scenes where Ashlee confronted Evelyn were cut for tone, and producers were instructed to steer away from Ashlee's backstory. The floodgates burst open. Social media exploded with clips, screenshots, and episode rewatches, all showing subtle clues. Moments where Towanda flinched when Ashlee called Evelyn "Mom," or where Ashlee asked personal questions and got brushed off. Fans also began questioning why Ashlee was rarely given central focus, often appearing in the background while the main Braxton sisters took the spotlight. "They erased her in real life and on screen," one fan tweeted. "Now we know why." The theory that Evelyn raised Ashlee to hide the scandal was no longer speculation, it was becoming accepted truth. Especially after a former Braxton cousin, known only as Joyce W., posted a cryptic Facebook message. "The truth always comes out." Ben knew Ashlee was Towanda's baby. We all knew. The post was quickly deleted, but screenshots were already viral. Ashlee still hadn't spoken publicly, but Tamar made it clear that she was watching everything. She's trying to heal. But imagine finding out the whole world knows your truth before you get a chance to say it for yourself, Tamar said. "I didn't want it to be like this. But this family forced her to live a lie her entire life." Then came the alleged bombshell. Tamar hinted that Michael Braxton Sr. may have financially threatened Evelyn to keep the secret. "I'm not saying she did this because she's evil," Tamar explained. "But she was scared of losing everything. The church, the reputation, the income. And so she chose the lie. And it cost us all." The internet turned on Michael instantly. A man who had always remained in the background, now being painted as the architect of a family cover-up involving his own daughter. Old interviews where he praised the Braxton girls for being so strong and tight-knit suddenly looked sinister in hindsight. Was that guilt talking? Fans asked. Or manipulation? Petitions began circulating, calling for an official statement from Michael Braxton. Some demanded a televised sit-down. Others wanted criminal investigation, though the statute of limitations made that nearly impossible. Regardless, the court of public opinion had already delivered its verdict guilty. As the pressure mounted, Towanda's team finally responded not with a denial, but with a carefully worded, "no comment," that only made things worse. The Braxton PR machine was cracking, and Tamar was watching it happen in real time. "You can't fix this with press statements," she said in a follow-up story. "The only thing that heals this kind of damage is truth." And maybe it's time Towanda finally says it out loud herself. The Braxton family was in freefall. With Tamar's bold confession still echoing across every platform, fans weren't just reacting, they were organizing. Threads exploded across X, formerly Twitter, dissecting each Braxton interview. Every cryptic quote, every awkward glance between Towanda and Ashlee on screen. Reddit was flooded with timelines comparing Ashlee's birth year to Towanda's teenage years, and blogs began publishing side-by-side photos of Ashlee and Michael Sr., pointing out the undeniable resemblance. The internet had turned into a full-blown investigation unit, and Tamar had just handed them the blueprint. But it wasn't just fans demanding answers anymore. Talk shows began calling. Major media outlets started requesting sit-downs with Tamar and Ashlee. Tamar declined most offers, insisting the point wasn't to cash in on the pain, but rather to release the weight they had been carrying for years. "This ain't promo," she posted. "This is purging." Still, she did agree to appear on one major podcast, hosted by a Black therapist and trauma expert, where she sat down and gave a chilling, tear-filled recount of the moment she first found out the truth. "I was 16, she revealed, "and I overheard a phone conversation between Evelyn and someone I won't name. They were arguing about keeping Ashlee in line, about making sure Towanda stayed quiet. I didn't understand what I was hearing at first, but over the years, it all started making sense." She recalled watching Ashlee grow up confused, feeling unwanted, dismissed, and emotionally disconnected from the family. "She'd cry after holidays," Tamar said. "She always felt like she didn't belong, and the worst part? The rest of us pretended not to notice. Because Evelyn made sure we were too scared to ask questions." The podcast was streamed over 3 million times within 48 hours. And then, at the height of the firestorm, Ashlee broke her silence. She didn't do a press tour. She didn't release a flashy statement. She simply posted a black and white photo of herself as a toddler, sitting on a bench, staring into the camera with sad, searching eyes. Her caption read, "I always knew something wasn't right, but the lie was louder than my voice. Not anymore." It was quiet, honest, and it broke the internet. Thousands flooded her comments with support. Fans who once questioned her relevance were now lifting her up as a survivor of one of the most sinister betrayals in reality TV family history. Tamar reposted the image with 3 simple words, "You are free." But not everyone was clapping. Behind the scenes, sources confirmed Towanda was spiraling. According to insiders close to production, she had suffered multiple panic attacks since Tamar's reveal. She had canceled 2 scheduled therapy sessions for the show and was threatening to pull out of all future tapings. One source said, "She's unraveling. Tamar exposed the one thing she thought would stay buried forever, and now she doesn't know who she is in this family anymore." Still, Tamar maintained that she wasn't trying to destroy her sister, she was trying to free her. "She's been holding this pain since she was a kid," Tamar said during the podcast. "She gave up her daughter, lived in shame, and then was told to pretend like nothing ever happened. That will mess with your soul. That will break you." Meanwhile, Evelyn Braxton remained the last piece of the puzzle and the most protected. She hadn't spoken publicly, but fans were digging up old interviews, including one clip where she once said, "Sometimes mothers make decisions that don't make sense to the world, but God sees the heart." That quote, once seen as inspirational, now felt like a thinly veiled justification for a cover-up. Fans weren't buying it anymore. A Change.org petition demanding Evelyn and Michael Sr. release a formal statement reached over 200,000 signatures in less than a week. And a viral Twitter thread asked one chilling question. If Tamar didn't speak, Would Ashlee have died without ever knowing the truth? What Tamar did in 2 Instagram lives unraveled 30 years of secrets, but what came next was something no one saw coming. Just when the public began questioning whether Ashlee could emotionally survive the exposure, she made a move that shocked everyone and turned the narrative upside down. Instead of retreating from the spotlight, Ashlee filed legal paperwork, and the documents leaked online revealed that she was seeking to legally change her last name from Braxton to Ashlee Towanda. It wasn't just symbolic, it was a message to the world. I know who I am now. Fans were stunned. Even Tamar admitted she hadn't expected such a bold step. I told her she didn't owe anybody anything, Tamar said in a new live. But she said, I need the world to stop calling me a lie. I want my name to be real. That single act shifted the tide of public opinion. Ashlee wasn't just a victim anymore, she became the face of generational truth-telling. The media went into a frenzy. Talk shows debated the ethics of family secrets, trauma parenting, and Black household shame culture. Psychologists weighed in on the damage of forced silence, especially when it involves identity and motherhood. And slowly but surely, Ashlee began to reclaim her story. She sat down for an exclusive interview with a women's healing podcast, and what she said left the entire fandom speechless. With a trembling voice but unwavering gaze, she said, I always wondered why I looked at Towanda and felt more than a sister bond. Why I mimicked her. Why I felt more connected to her energy than Evelyn's. When I found out, it hurt, but it also made sense. Finally, the pieces fit. She described the moment she first suspected the truth. It was after a family reunion. I was around 15. I overheard 2 cousins whispering about how I looked just like Towanda when she was pregnant. I brushed it off, but something stayed with me. She said her confrontation with Evelyn years later was met with gaslighting and denial, claiming Evelyn would say things like, "You're too sensitive. You've always been dramatic," but it was Tamar who eventually told her everything. She sat me down and said, I've got to tell you what they never will. And when she did, I felt like I was breathing for the first time. Ashlee said she cried for days, not because she was angry but because her whole life had been built on silence. She confirmed Tamar's claims about the DNA test, revealing that she had taken it on her own as an adult, and when the results came back, showing a 99.9% match with Michael Braxton Sr. as the father, she collapsed on the bathroom floor. It was the ugliest moment of my life, she admitted. But also the most powerful, because now I knew. The interview was raw, honest, and brave, and fans rallied behind her in full force. We Stand with Ashlee trended worldwide, and thousands of messages of support flooded her account. But not all reactions were kind. Behind the scenes, Towanda was cracking. Production sources revealed she had stopped showing up to scheduled shoots, was refusing to speak to Tamar directly, and had told producers she felt cornered and set up. A close friend of Towanda anonymously told a blog, "She's spiraling. This isn't just embarrassment, it's trauma being pulled out of her before she's ready." Some fans began showing sympathy toward Towanda, suggesting that while the truth needed to come out, Tamar's method of exposure may have caused irreparable psychological damage. Tamar clapped back on her podcast. "So now I'm the villain again? Y'all want women to suffer quietly, to protect abusers, to die in silence. I won't apologize for telling the truth. Not now. Not ever." Still, the tension was real. Tamar's tone had shifted from explosive to emotional exhaustion. She posted a story that read, "This family was built on broken promises and buried secrets. I didn't destroy it, I'm trying to heal it." Meanwhile, Evelyn still refused to speak. Michael Braxton Sr. had hired a lawyer, and insiders claimed a cease and desist was sent to producers at WETV, attempting to block Tamar's footage from airing. But the train had already left the station, and there was no stopping it, because the next bombshell wasn't going to come from Tamar. It was going to come from Towanda herself. When Towanda Braxton finally broke her silence, She didn't cry, scream, or deny, she simply confirmed everything. In a raw, unedited video, uploaded without warning to her YouTube channel, Towanda sat alone in a quiet room, dimly lit, her face stripped of makeup and pretense. "I don't know how to start this," she began, "so I'm just gonna speak from my gut, because I've spent my whole life hiding behind what I was told to say." Then, after a long pause, she looked into the camera and said the words that made thousands of jaws drop. "Yes, I am Ashlee's mother." Her voice trembled, but her eyes were steady. "I had her when I was 15. I was scared. I was confused. And I was silenced. The adults in my life made choices for me, choices that I now live with every single day." She admitted to being coerced into secrecy, forced to pretend her child was her sister, and punished any time she questioned the lie. "Evelyn told me if I said anything the family would fall apart," she whispered. "So, I stayed quiet. For all of y'all. And it cost me my daughter." The internet froze. Tamar reposted the video with a simple line. She finally said it. "I'm proud of you, sis." But Towanda wasn't done. She confirmed Tamar's claims that the DNA test was real, and that Michael Braxton Sr. was Ashlee's biological father. She didn't give details about how the pregnancy happened, but she did say, "There are things I'm still not ready to say. And maybe I never will. But what matters now is Ashlee knows the truth, and that's all that matters to me." It was the first time in public that she had acknowledged Michael Sr. as the father, and although she didn't elaborate on whether there had been consent, fans immediately began questioning how a 15-year-old Towanda ended up pregnant by a man over twice her age. Social media erupted with demands for an investigation not just into Michael, but into Evelyn's role in allegedly covering it all up. And then, the bombshell dropped. Towanda revealed that she had tried to reclaim Ashlee privately years ago. In a heartbreaking segment of the video, she admitted that when Ashlee turned 18, she wrote her a letter, finally telling her the truth. "But Evelyn intercepted it," she said through tears. "She told Ashlee it was fake, that I was just unstable, and Ashlee believed her." That moment shattered whatever lingering sympathy fans had for Evelyn Braxton. Now, the image of the strong matriarch, the woman who preached family values, was gone, replaced by a woman many now viewed as a manipulative gatekeeper of secrets, image, and power. The backlash was swift. Former fans demanded Evelyn be dropped from any future appearances or public speaking gigs. Churches that had once welcomed her as a motivational speaker began quietly removing her name from flyers. One fan tweeted, "Evelyn told us to pray through pain. Now we see she meant, pray it away and lie about it." Tamar's next move was unexpected. She posted a message of forgiveness. "I don't hate my mama," she wrote. "I hate the systems that taught her to believe lies were love, but we're breaking the curse and it starts with us." The tone was different. No longer explosive, just resolute. Meanwhile, Ashlee released a second message, this time speaking directly to her mother. "Towanda," she said. "Thank you for finally standing up for me. I forgive you. And I love you." That single sentence healed more than just their bond. It signaled a new chapter. The two later appeared together in a joint livestream, laughing, crying, and talking about plans to rebuild their relationship, this time as mother and daughter. And the fans? They showed up in droves. Thousands flooded the comments, saying things like, "You've turned pain into power. Ashlee, you are so loved. Towanda, your bravery is unmatched." Even celebrities began speaking out. Big-name reality stars posted messages of solidarity, with some even sharing their own stories of being adopted, hidden, or lied to by their families. A cultural wave had started, and at the center of it stood three women who refused to stay silent any longer. The legacy of the Braxtons had changed forever, and the one person who still hadn't said a word? Michael Braxton Sr. Michael Braxton Sr.'s silence had become louder than anything Tamar, Towanda, or Ashlee could say. As the women stood publicly in their truth, owning the pain, healing the wounds, and facing the world unfiltered, Michael Braxton vanished. No statement, no denial, no apology, just silence. A leaked email from his legal team revealed that he was deeply disturbed by the public narrative and considering options for defamation protection. But the truth was, you can't sue away DNA, and the truth had already burned the lie to ash. Towanda, now standing proudly beside Ashlee in public interviews, wasn't backing down. "I was a child," she said in a recent sit-down with Essence. "And he was a man. That's all I'm going to say. And if anyone has a problem with that, they need to ask themselves why they're uncomfortable with the truth." Her voice was no longer timid, it was full of fire. "And Ashlee?" She leaned in and held her mother's hand tightly, offering silent support that said, "We got us now." Tamar, watching from a distance, had taken a step back. Her role in the story had shifted from the whistleblower to the witness. She had done what needed to be done, even when it cost her everything. "I wasn't trying to destroy my family," she said in her final podcast episode on the matter. "I was trying to force us to tell the truth before it destroyed us anyway." She revealed that the family had been warned for years that secrets rot legacies, that therapists had pleaded for the truth to come out. But it always ended the same. Evelyn would shut it down. She believed if we just prayed and performed, the past would disappear, but all it did was grow like a weed under the rug. Tamar broke down crying on the podcast, saying, "I've lost siblings before. I wasn't going to lose Ashlee to silence." The finale of Braxton Family Values, Rebuilt aired that weekend and featured the most emotional scene in franchise history, Ashlee walking hand in hand with Towanda into therapy. For the first time, the cameras showed them not as niece and aunt, but as mother and daughter, two women trying to build a relationship after decades of lies. The room was quiet. No dramatic music, just raw breathing, tears, and the awkward pauses of honesty. "I feel like I've been robbed," Ashlee said. "And I feel like I failed you," Towanda replied. "But we're here," Ashlee whispered. "And that has to mean something." It was the ending no one expected. Not a blow-up, not a scandal, but a soft, slow exhale, a moment of fragile hope in the middle of devastation. Fans wept with them. Ashlee and Towanda trended across social platforms, and donations poured in for organizations supporting survivors of childhood coercion and abuse. Tamar reposted one of her favorite fan comments, "This isn't just a reality show, this is generational healing." As the credits rolled, a quiet update appeared on the screen. Michael Braxton Sr. declined to appear and has not responded to the family's request for public accountability. And that was that. The Braxton family would never be the same. But maybe that was the point. Maybe the legacy isn't about perfection, but the courage to correct the past. And Tamar, the sister who refused to stay quiet, had lit the match that made that possible. How long can a family lie before the truth burns it all down? Tamar Braxton didn't just reveal a secret, she shattered a generational curse. In a world where so many are told to protect the image, Tamar chose to protect the truth. Towanda found her voice. Ashlee found her mother. And now, it's your turn. Drop a comment if you've ever been told to stay silent for the sake of family. Were you forced to live under someone else's lie? Were you made to carry shame that wasn't yours? Share your story. Stand in your truth. And let's lift each other out of the silence. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear. You are not alone. Ashlee Braxton. Towanda Braxton. Tamar Braxton. Family secrets. Speak your truth. Braxton scandal. End the silence. Justice for Ashlee. No more lies.